Welcome to Copenhagen Live, the day of the grandest VATSIM event in Denmark, where all our controllers gather in our specially made ATC Central to provide you with live ATC from airport opening to airport closure. We want to have a spectacular day, not just for us controllers, but for you as pilots as well. Therefore, we ask for a few minutes of your attention as we go through this very important safety briefing of the event. Before departure, which is the trickier one, we want to give you the full simulation. This means indulging in realism from the very beginning, and it all starts here on vatscape.org/cphlive. Here you can go in and book all the flights you want to fly in and out of Copenhagen on the day. We've published all possible slots, and you can freely choose between either a slot of your own choice or choose one of the real-world flights that are actually going through Copenhagen on the day. Once booked, get onto our dedicated dispatch site, on which you will see all the info that will be for your flight, like timing, links, dispatch information, and also including the stand, which will be booked for your flight on the day. Make sure you visit the dispatch site as the last thing before you load up your airplane, because stand assignments are an ever-dynamic environment. We will confirm your stand though no later than 1 hour before your departure time. Once that is done, go file your flight plan and make sure that you file the correct off-block time as filed through the booking system. Because you need your EOBT to file your TOBT to get your TSAT to comply with your CTAT, and let's just spend 60 seconds to get on the same page of all these things. EOBT is the time you file in your flight plan before you log on. It's the one you plan for when you start your simulator. It's the one that your passengers are arriving at the gate for. But that's it, and it's a locked time. Interesting ones are the next two ones. TOBT, the target off-block time, is important because that's the time that you are telling us that you are ready to go. Because you might be ready 15 minutes too late or maybe 10 minutes early. Either way, you must go to our CDM website linked from the dispatch page and tell us by filing a TOBT when you are ready to go. And do this as soon as possible because we use this time to slot you into our system. Calculate your taxi time, find your takeoff time, and then calculate it back and assign you a TSAT, a target startup approval time. That time we now communicate back to you, and you can expect to be given startup and pushback at that time. If there's not too much traffic, your TSAT will match your TOBT. If it is busy and a lot of aircraft want to take off at the same time, you may get a slightly delayed TSAT. If you did not provide us with any TOBT, don't worry, we'll just assume that you will be ready to go at your EOBT. But if you're not, you will go all the way to the back of the queue with a potential big delay. And none of us want that. Does it sound confusing? Don't worry. Just like in the real world, your dispatcher is there to help you out, which we also have for Copenhagen Live. So you can tune in 120.5 on your comm box, and our dispatch service will help you with stat assignments, TOBT filing, and all the general questions you may have. Once your time has come and you're within ±5 minutes of your TSAT, we will give you permission to start and push. And here in Copenhagen, it's rather unique. Because of its tight spaces and outdated layout, you will be assigned a release point where you need to push your aircraft to. These pushback routes can be complicated, but fear not. We have linked the official GSX profile from VATSIM Scandinavia on our website as well, which you will have to find all the possible routes available to you by the click of a button. This diagram you can see here will also be found in the briefing pages. Once you need taxi and you have your charge ready, remember the station you're requesting it to is Kastrup Apron. And it's only responsible for this area, meaning you can always expect to hold short before the adjacent runway 1230. From there on, one of our tower controllers will take you across, sequence you for the holding points, and a separate controller will then provide you with the takeoff clearance, and onwards you go. Just remember one thing before you push that toga button. In Copenhagen, we have automatic handover to the departure frequency, so do not wait for the tower to hand you over when airborne. Once you pass 1,000 feet, tune and check in with departure yourself. Your chart will give you the correct frequency, and so will vPilot. You can choose either one. A good tip is to tune the departure frequency in your COM2 and then select it in the COM1 just before takeoff for a quick transfer. Now, when it comes to arrivals, it's so much more simple, but so much more critical. Traffic can get super busy into Copenhagen, and it only takes one unprepared pilot to topple the entire flow. Luckily, all you need for a successful approach into Copenhagen in peak time is to simply adhere to 2 paragraphs of the VATSIM Code of Conduct. Bravo 14 is critical. You must have your charge with you. So either make sure you have a Navigraph subscription, or just choose the easy way and download the charts directly from vatscape.org/cphlive. These are specifically produced for VATSIM and are completely free to use. There's simply no excuse anymore for not having the charts with you. Also, it's not enough having the charts, you need to be able to read them and understand them. In Copenhagen, that's especially in two areas. First of all, read the holdings. Which point is the holding? Is it going left or is it going right? Secondly, later in the procedure, when you reach the end of the downwind right here and the ILS starts here, you may be tempted to fly like this, but that is strictly forbidden. You must read the charts properly and understand that on all runways after the last point on the star, you must continue on the downwind heading and keep flying that heading all the way until you reach Beijing, though hopefully the controllers will turn you inbound before that. Secondly is point B8C. Make sure you know how to fly your airplane. Of course, we expect you to do the basics like adhering to headings and speed restrictions in a timely manner, fly an ILS, go around, expediting vacating the runway via effective taxi skills, because this is very important in Copenhagen, all that stuff. But also being able to fly your aircraft in a manner that will allow you to adhere to the previous point, meaning knowing how to enter a holding in your FMC, adhering to all altitude and speed restrictions on your arrival, and of course knowing when you see that big beautiful route discontinuity after the last point on your star, leave it right where it is. The third point is also based on Bravo 14, and it's your IRAC. Make sure it is appropriately updated. It is a VATSIM requirement and we need to know that you can fly the correct arrivals. But let me just reiterate, for Copenhagen we always prefer you to have the completely updated IRAC, but as long as you have this IRAC, we are still perfectly happy as that is containing the latest significant changes to the airport. If you have an older one than that, please do ensure that this letter and this number corresponds to this letter and this number, so that you know you have the correct versions of the star you're flying. But much more desirable is it just to make sure it's updated. It is a requirement not just for Denmark, but for all airports on VATSIM. That's it, it's now time to prepare for takeoff. You are now ready for all that we have to offer on the day. We now invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight into Copenhagen Live.